Can I have your attention, please? This is the February 26th meeting of the Scranton Planning Commission. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. King.
Here. Here. Ehud.
Here.
Here.
Here. This time I'll forego the reading of the minutes. Any correspondence, Mr. King?
I'm sorry?
Any correspondence?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, with that said, under old business, review of final land development plan by May Brand LLC to develop 4,920 square feet of major convenience store, Dunkin' Donuts, and 5 fuel pumps at 1200 North Kaiser Avenue, North Kaiser and Loop Street.
Could you say that again? Mr. Chairman, they're still working through their comments from last month. They expect to have a submission into us and be ready to move on it next month.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris in my office who reviewed the plans, and they've been in conversation with Quad 3 Group, and it's moving ahead. They just got to pick away at the comments. So hopefully next month we'll have something in before next meeting and see where we're at, okay?
Good.
I think Mr. King informed me that they're waiting for the PennDOT HOP comments, which could drive, you know, the design of moving to drive or not or whatever. Don't know what they're going to get, so. But it's moving along.
Okay.
It's a good project, and hopefully we'll have it resolved by our March meeting.
Wonderful. All right, with that said, first one under new business. Review of sketch plan for the subdivision of 3 parcels, 6 acres on the land of David and Nicole A. Leonori to adjoining property owners at the 1500, 1600, and 1700 block of Cherry Street, R1 zone.
Good evening, Commission members. My name is George Parker. I'm a registered civil engineer in Pennsylvania and also a registered land surveyor. With me, I have David Leonori, who is my client and the owner of the property, he and his wife, Nicole. The plan that we prepared and have placed before you is to get your opinions on and ask you to review possibility of developing what is now undeveloped land. It's totally wooded property on, we'll call it East Mountain. The purpose of wanting to subdivide it, do you have the drawing in front of you? Okay, thank you. You will note at the top of the drawing, the top of the sheet, there is a street called Cherry Street, and on the left side of the drawing is a street called Rollin Avenue. The properties that front on Cherry Street are all developed properties. In other words, there are residential dwellings on them, with the exception of one, which is a stormwater detention basin. The persons who own Some of the persons who own the properties that are developed on Cherry Street are desirous of purchasing land to the rear of their properties to extend the depth of their properties. And the land that Mr. and Mrs. Leonori owns is the land that you see in the first view, the parcels behind it. They're approximately 600 feet long and 150 feet deep. So the persons on Cherry Street would extend their properties into that land, and then they would each have annexations to the property, to their properties. The first view, of course, is the way it looks today. And the second view that you see on the sheet is the conception of, or the conceptual plan of what some of the people would like to do at this point. Some of them would like to only purchase the land directly behind them. Some of them would like to purchase land directly behind them and, we'll call it to the side in the rear. If this is confusing, just give a yell. Any questions, just raise your hand. I know they're not uniform divisions or uniform annexations, but some of the people want land and some don't. They don't want to buy any land. I presented it this way so that we had a chance to talk to the Planning Commission members and also to give you an opportunity to decide whether we are going to move forward with. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the sirens to stop. To give you a chance to let us know if it is worth our while to continue forward and come in with a proper formal plan, preliminary plan, and then a final plan.
Let me ask you a question. On your existing condition plan, on the top one, between the properties you have a broken line, does that represent a street, an alley, or what?
It represents a paper alley, we'll call it. That's a term we use. There's not a physical alleyway there in terms of any pavement. The trees are not cleared. There's no graded roadway of any kind.
And then on the bottom line, your bottom proposal plan, it looks like on your first three properties, you have the paper alley, and then the next two, it looks like the alley stops and then picks up on the continuing property.
May I come up and look at which one you're looking at?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This one here. That, and then, and then you pick it back up again.
This is, okay.
Okay?
The portion of the alley that you were pointing to, that's an alley, a paper alley behind the detention pond. So in other words, they're not going to
Okay.
extend that back to the paper street. We've only shown it here to illustrate two things. Number one, the different types of arrangements we would be looking at, and also as to what people are sort of committed to now. That could change. If someone changes their mind and doesn't want to extend their property, then it wouldn't appear on the preliminary and the final plan.
As it stands now, you're gonna have like two remnants left, one behind the detention pond and,
One behind Francis Leggett and Paul Shearer. They look like there's another property that would be still retained. I'm looking on the right, let's say on the easterly side of the property, George, 1, 2, 3, 4, between properties 5 and 6 as you would go to the left from,
Again, may I approach?
yeah. The two we X'd.
No, this here. This here.
These people don't seem like they own it.
Yeah. This is what I was talking about.
Let's do it from the podium so they can know what we're talking about.
What happened to here stops.
Okay. Okay.
This one is because of detention.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just
Just so you can answer
ends right
to the
there.
committee what was
Number
the...
of the street.
Why don't you turn the mic, please, so we can, so everybody can hear what's going on. Just turn one of the mics towards you, George.
The question that was just asked was the parcels that don't show any extension, those aren't committed to anyone yet. They haven't expressed any desire to purchase the land behind them. And the other one he asked about was this one, which is, again, behind the detention pond. This is the detention pond here, but it's only that one lot.
all the rest of these properties all meet the minimum requirement. There are houses on them now.
Oh, correct, those are existing dwellings.
Okay.
I mean, their properties would just be getting larger,
Yeah.
is the point.
Yeah, extending these properties.
Correct.
Mount Laurel?
This one, for example, it's L-shaped, that's because this person wasn't desirous of purchasing, but this one would take the land behind it.
So you're not making new lots for new people to come and buy them, you're just extending the lots of the existing?
Exactly.
Okay.
These would not be, these would only be annexations to existing properties. They would not be saleable lots to new persons or however you would want to express that. They're absolutely annexations.
Yeah, okay.
George, Don and I were talking up here too, and about the alley and the two undeveloped streets that would be kind of eliminated and joined into this thing here.
Correct?
We're under the opinion, there's case law that says if they're not opened or used or developed by the municipality within 21 years, they basically go away. I mean, they just become open land, Donnie, am I correct?
Yeah.
Free land, so I don't know how you legally tie them into you. Do you have to file a quick claim for those courts? I don't know. That's a legal question. It's not a surveying question, so
We do have legal counsel looking at that.
we would like that answered, you know.
I presume that question would come up, and you're right. And I understand what Donnie's talking about.
You know, George, even when you were sitting in my seat here, there was times when the law department would formally request a vacation, and there's times under previous administrations when they wouldn't.
Understood.
So you're kind of like Frank Bullock, when he was here, he just used to cite that lot of Donnie and say, what are we vacating it for? It's already gone, you know what I mean? We already lost our right to it. But you would still have to, on your own, pick up some kind of title to that land, whether it's, I don't know if it's quick claim or access to quiet title. That's beyond my expertise, you know?
I believe quitclaim is the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah, I
have to-
think, yeah, after, whenever, I don't know what plan this was, probably like Black One Iron and Coal, or one of the coal companies laid this out originally.
Or some whatever, you'd have to go into the deeds and find out who you'd be claiming against, their heirs and assigns of whoever was long gone.
But on the city's end, once it's offered, if we didn't accept it in 21 years, the city loses the public right to use it. There's still some private rights of people in that, abutting property owners that might have
Understood.
some claim to it.
I myself, I mean, have no objections to what they're trying to do because they're just an extension of the existing lot. I would like if you choose to proceed, you know, based on coming out of here. I mean, there's no recommendation on the sketch. Everybody's just asked questions. I would like the parcels that are, let's say, annexed in to be joined forever to that lot. So somebody doesn't try to sell the back off and then we end up with a landlocked parcel, George. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, because I saw that in the one that's coming up next has that, behind the next submission has that language in the subdivision saying the parts that are annexed in being combined can not be sold out. You know what I'm saying? So if these lots were extended, they should stay with that property and be sold as one piece. Donnie, legally, can we do that? I mean, I don't know,
Yeah,
that's another loyal question, but I would want to see somebody try to sell the back off at some point in time as an extension to improve their property, clear it out, add, you know, patios or whatever they want to do back there, or, you know, play areas for their children. It's a wonderful idea. And I don't think there's any, besides, if there was any construction of anything, you would have to go through the building permit process. You're not proposing any new public improvements, So I don't think we need land development down here by any means.
No.
So, but it, like if somebody wanted to build a deck or something like that out the back, it'd just be covered by, come in, get a building permit with the contractor, build a deck and move ahead, right, Don?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, because now you get, rather than just, they'll be annexed into the other properties, the properties will become more valuable, and, you know, people got.
The type of language you're referring to, I mean, this wouldn't be the first time it was ever done, and we would look at samples that you would want to provide to us of how you would want it worded.
I'd just like to see what your, you know, whatever your attorneys are, just something good. My only concern is, once you do this, you don't want somebody trying to break this up and try to sell the back half off at some point in time.
Understood.
Because I think that would be kind of a deed restriction, more so than any kind of zoning or anything. A deed restriction which goes with the land. You know?
And each of these prospective buyers would be told that up front before they even sign on the
That'd
document.
be my only recommendation moving forward, that they, once they're combined, the parcel stays as one piece.
That's the intention.
What I don't know is how the assessment office would want to see the map. If they're going to become an inseparable part of the front parcel, are they going to want to see like a dotted line in here to show where?
You can work that out, George, again with somebody over the assessment office. You just ask them. I mean, you know, it's right down.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you have it shown in here is the right way, that they'll each be just one lot.
As long as
It's
you
not-
keep the
it's
existing
not two
conditions
parcels.
plan,
Yeah,
well, once you dimension it all up, like how much everything is, like if the alley's 16 or 20 feet and the lots are 140 or 50 feet deep, it'll make sense then, you know? That somebody with a 120-foot lot is not gonna have a 260-foot lot or whatever that might be, right? Correct?
And if the assessment department decided that this was okay, they could leave the same PIN numbers that you see
Yeah,
there
They
now.
probably would.
And that further supports what we're talking about. It's one parcel.
Yep.
and it would probably be better for the property owners, they'll only end up with one tax bill rather than two.
Correct.
Because what you'll be doing is you'll be doing
Yeah. a
even though it's
number of
called a
lot
subdivision
combinations.
plan, it's kind of a lot consolidation plan for each individual lot going down the road. You're adding, not taking away, you know? But it's not like they have to do any more, they're not gonna build any physical improvements because it's all existing properties
Yeah.
and homes, and it's just to add basic raw land to the property owners. It's a good idea, I mean, really, if you have this much of potential commitment, it looks like it's well accepted by the neighborhood up there. This was the old Mount Laurel development. I don't think I was here, but I think with the commission, I don't know if you probably.
George, did you go in front of Lackawanna County Planning with this?
Pardon me?
Lackawanna County Planning?
We did not take it there yet because
Not there?
I don't really consider this a formal sketch plan yet. I just brought it in tonight, or we just brought it in tonight to let you look at it. And
Yeah, the
if it
county
comes...
doesn't review sketch plans.
Okay.
They won't, they'll send it right back to you, because they won't. But when
This-
you make this a formal submission, once you figure it all out, what you want to show, that would go to the county.
And this drawing isn't complete enough to submit to them to look at. For example, there are no contour lines on here yet or anything like that.
So our plan is to accept it for review?
No, this is, it's just a sketch plan, there's no action needed by
You
the
don't have to
commission.
act.
No action.
He's just here to bounce it off the commission and see answer any questions and see if we have any suggestions.
I mean, I see no, as your engineer, I see no
No.
downside to this. I
No.
think it's a good thing. I mean, whether you know,
Before we get into developing further, we want to try to make sure there's no serious roadblock that says absolutely no. Then we would be wasting our time. But we are appreciative of your time tonight to discuss it with us, to look at it, and your questions. And may we say, if you have more questions, could you get them to us in 2 weeks? Is that acceptable?
Sure.
Before we would try to develop it any farther?
Tell George tonight, I don't have any more questions. The only thing is when you brought it in, and it's gonna be time consuming, but we would require you to monument every corner, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just,
Pardon me?
monument every corner.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because they're individuals and, you know, you want to see where all these, when I say monument, put an iron pin or if you're on a rock, a drill hole or whatever you'd have to do up there just to make this thing, so people would know exactly what they're getting, you know?
And that's part of the detail I was talking about when I said this is not a complete plan for submission.
I mean, I'd like to see you move ahead, and I don't see any,
No.
I don't see a downside to it to the commission. From a professional standpoint, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's taking
All in-
unused land, combining it with a used property, you know, kind of makes the assessment work a little easier for these people. Plus, it helps the Leonoris get rid of just vacant land. It's not really doing anybody any good up there, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Moves ahead. It's probably an
Good.
R1A zone down here, an R1.
Well, I think it's an R1.
R1.
Yeah.
R1.
So they're adding on, so they're more, they're
Yeah.
not taking away, they're gonna expand, they're gonna make them much bigger lots than required up there. What's in there meets the requirement right now.
Is there any questions by the commission?
Anybody else?
Is it currently wooded or just
It is
grassland?
wooded.
Wooded.
It's very wooded, yes.
Okay.
Is it rocky and outcroppy, George, too, like that?
It's rocky. I walked most of it. I didn't really see any outcrops, but it is very rocky.
You know, typical East Mountain type of territory, there's
You don't have any outcrops.
The rock garden.
I mean, there's no downside to it too for the developer or the city. I mean, it's a good project. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of cleans up a lot of, how would you say, a lot of useless land into expandable land for the property owners. You could see nice things happening out there, you know, decks or verandas or
Swimming pools.
swimming pools, you know,
Yeah.
nice things like that, you know?
Yeah. So, we're set then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the two concerns are, George, just like I said, and you could do some research, and if there's any questions, you could get back to the city law department with your attorney on just the, what we want to call the vacation or vacating the rights of ways, if they have to be, or, and then that's, if they don't have to be, then either way, you guys would have to somehow
Understood.
file some kind of title to get them into your name, you know, before they're sold, you know? And then there'd only be one. I guess another, we could face that down the road, is Donnie. Would everybody? I guess they would. Every property owner that decides to, besides the Leonoris, every property owner that agrees to the sale and the annexation, we might need signatures. You might end up with a whole signature sheet for this one.
Oh, understood.
You know what I'm saying? That they agree, you know, they agreed to the combination of the lot. Because that's the only way it's gonna work. I mean, if there's two consensual property owners, like kind of, we've done it before, like they both have to sign, you know, the lot consolidation or the subdivision plan.
Yeah.
Because they're both agreeing to the new lines that are developed from the plan. So you might end up with, you know, 28 notarized signatures on this plan. But that's just a legal formality in the end. Dear enough. Move on, explore it from your end, and if it's a real plan, come back to us.
All right, thank you for listening to us.
Good luck, I just hope, it's, like I said, I like to see good projects, and this is a good project. George, and I know you'll do it right, so there's no problem there.
No, thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda is review of minor subdivision plan of the lands of MIMI Holdings LLC to convert two parcels approximately 6,640 square feet to adjoining property owner Kost Tires at 939 Jefferson Avenue, CG zone.
Good evening. What we plan to do here is we just,
Could you just identify yourself for the...
oh, I'm sorry, my name is Ray Bartolai. I'm from Kost Tire and Auto.
Okay, that's all,
in
just so I know
Pleasanton.
who you represent, yeah.
Basically, what we're doing, Michael Neary and ourselves are just combining two lots. We're basically the old railroad bed that went in between the two properties. We would like to combine them, and he's going to take a little bit of the property, we're going to take a little bit of the property, and basically use it for parking. No development at all has been planned or will be on there.
So there's still gonna be a little triangle right along Ash Street that Neary will still own?
Correct. The reason why we left that, it's about approximately 10 feet, is if he ever wanted to get in that way, in between our property and his property, he can. Right now, there's a chain link fence there. You know, there's a chain link fence as well as a utility pole. So from the end of his rebar, we started the property about 10 feet up from there.
So I don't know how well you can see on your maps, commission members, but on Ash Street is what they call Lot 2, and then about halfway down, right opposite about the last wing of the Kost building, there's a little Lot 3. They're combining those two properties to create one big property for Kost
Correct.
Tire.
It's basically just cleaning up the actual lot line. That
Yeah.
where it was originally, that you know, little lot 3, there was actually some other jogs in the property too. So we're just basically trying to keep the lines as straight as possible. So you know that.
No, I see what you're doing, and it cleans it all up for them, you know? See, this is what I was talking about before, at that other project. If you go down into the general notes, it says lots 2 and 3 to be joined and become an inseparable part of the land of TK Venture LP, tax ID number so-and-so, and cannot be subdivided, conveyed, or sold separately or apart without permission from the city of Scranton. Which means is, they're doing this to make it a permanent lot.
Correct.
Each person is gonna have to what the two parcels Kost has taken in, they want them to stay with that parcel. That's what I meant
Correct.
before. And if they did, they'd have to come back to the city again for a formal subdivision approval. So it's really cleaning up the whole title for their property and making it one piece. And
Yeah, and like I said, neither Michael Neary or ourselves have any desire to develop that we just fill it in a little bit in behind there, so we could both use some parking. You know, so that's the only thing that we did this for.
I reviewed the plan. Donnie got me a copy, it didn't even generate a letter. There's like 3 things. Guy may have to bring his map current, like he's got it signed on 9/7/19. So, I mean, the county's pretty fussy about recording. So when the property owner's signatures get on and over in the notary block, must have brought in an old template. It says 2017 for the date of the signature. It should say 2020. It's no big deal. It's like 2 drafts. So, and we don't know if this went before the county. This has to be submitted to the county. We don't know if Guy submitted this to the county planning commission. That's the municipal planning code. It has to be reviewed by the county. So there's.
I couldn't answer that. I don't know that.
Well, it's gonna have to happen before we can give you
absolutely.
final approval. So you can check back with Guy. I sit on the county planning commission. I can't remember this one coming in. Donnie gets copies of all the ones when they get approved. Yeah. We can't remember, so you could tell Guy he might have to drop one off over the county, with a check. And there's a meeting in March, so if he gets it over pretty soon, we could have that recommendation.
I can have him do it, this week, hopefully.
That's it. I mean, And I'll
And I could have him change that block up as well, that,
I'll give
know.
you this even, all I'm saying is just, and then when he makes new maps for you guys to sign, is this, he can just re-sign them with a current date, so when they bring them over, all the dates, after we sign them, they're all like within,
Absolutely.
on top of
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, they don't like to record anything that has a date that's over 90 days old.
Even with the surveyor and,
Yeah.
that's just the problem, so.
Oh, absolutely, that's understandable.
Because once you get all that, then you bring them to us, you'll have them notarized, signed, we sign them, give them back to you, you can run them right over to county and get them recorded, be done with it, right done.
Yep.
The biggest one, I mean, these minor changes, or don't even have to be noted, but just county, Lackawanna County review. That's
Yeah.
the only condition on this. Didn't even generate a letter, I mean, it's just,
Okay.
Yeah, so we would recommend final approval conditioned upon Lackawanna County Planning Commission review.
yep, that's it. Makes perfect sense what they're doing. All the corners are monumented, either found or set, so it's a beautiful, everything else, all the notes I like on the plan are there. Reason for the subdivision, everything is there, so it's got everything, it's good to go. Except for the county review.
And like I said, that should be submitted, I'll speak to Guy tomorrow morning, and it should be
Yeah.
a very easy submission, so.
Drops off
Yeah.
a set of plans over to county with a check, and it's not even that expensive for this kind of subdivision, and we have a meeting, I'm on the county planning, they meet the second Thursday of the month, so
Okay.
should be on there. And then when they bring in plans, we should get, Donnie will have the review, we can sign this up and get them on their way.
Awesome.
So it's
we
very
can-
good, plan was well prepared, everything was on there, what we need.
We can have a final motion, consider with one condition.
With
Like
one
on the
condition,
planning-
correct.
county
Final
plan.
approval with one condition, county
Yeah.
review, county planning commission review, that's it.
Yeah. Understood? At this time, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. I think it
Second?
was explained enough, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion been made and seconded.
Mr. Polsley?
Yes.
Mr. Galella?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Ms. Boer?
Yes.
Mr. Finnerty?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
I give him that with your...
Here, I'll give you this copy.
Well, at this time, with no other further business, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Thanks, guys, ladies.